Okay, Kate, we're going to talk about your swim analysis from the other day. The first thing I want you to notice is that left hand. We talked about this. Your left hand isn't entering with your middle finger going straight down the pool, and that's going to cause you some issues. As you see, you're only taking 62 strokes per minute at the moment. That's not bad, but you're also taking 30 strokes per length, which is it's less than a yard per stroke, so you're not being very efficient. And part of that is that left hand karate chop motion. You're just not catching much of the water. Another thing you can really see from this over the top position is how much you have to lift your head to get a breath in. I can see almost both your goggles as you look at the ceiling. That means that you're lifting your head way up out of the water to get a breath. What's going on there is that because you're not swimming with much power or oomph, you're not generating a bow wave at the front of your head, which will make this little trough for you to breathe in. So you've got to lift your head above the surface of the water to get a breath in. What that's going to do is as you lift that head up out of the water, it's going to drop your hips and create a bunch of drag. The other thing you'll see happening as you breathe is your legs split apart. This happens a little bit more as you breathe to your right rather than your left, right there. Now that's what we call a scissor kick, and it's like a parachute opening behind you. In general, your kick looks pretty good, but especially as you breathe to your right, that's something we're going to want to work on. Now from this angle, you're going to be able to see a lot. First of all, I want you to see that you're pushing your arm down at the front of the stroke, rather than getting it into a position where you can push water behind you. As you push water down, you're doing exactly what we just talked about. That raises your torso and drops your hips. Your hip position's not too bad here. You know, your bum and your legs are pretty close to the surface of the water. But as you get into the length, they sort of start to sink more and more. I think part of that is ankle flexibility. You can see that especially as that right foot finishes its kick, the foot is almost flexed. So it's the ankle is almost at a 90-degree angle. That's going to cause a lot of drag, so we want to work on pointing your toes more. You can also see here that head position that we talked about, especially as you're not near the wall, as you're not looking forward for it. You tend to look straight at the bottom of the pool. You can see that right there. If we tilt your head just ever so slightly forward, you'll be making more of that bow wave that I talked about in the last video section. And breathing will be much more comfortable. But the big takeaway from this angle, and now as you start to get tired, you can really see your legs start to sink behind you. The big takeaway here is that you're pushing down through the water, especially as you go to breathe. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to support that breath and lift your head by pushing down in the water. We're going to want to get you away from doing that. Now in this shot, you can really see that pressing down through the water. Your arm is almost straight, pointing straight at the bottom of the pool. As we talked about in the session, we really want to get that elbow a little bit closer to the surface of the water so your arm is bent more. Right now the arm is close to 180 degrees, so almost a straight line. We want to get it closer to maybe 120 degrees so there's a good bend in the elbow as you're swimming along. And here's that same shot just at full speed, so you can actually see it at a regular clip. You're doing a really good job of breathing, exhaling underwater. I want to say that. A lot of swimmers don't do that. You're doing a great job. You can see that steady stream of bubbles going. Okay, here we are at the end of the session. It's only an hour, so obviously not a ton is going to have changed in that short amount of time. but I can really see that you're thinking about straightening out that left hand. Obviously, it's still going to come over a little bit, but you know, that will change as you get used to it. And now from the side, you can see here that your body position has actually improved a little bit, and your kick is a little bit better. I think the reason for that is that we did those ankle stretches in the middle of the session, which gave you a little bit more ankle flexibility. So your foot isn't flexing at the back of the stroke. So that's a really good adjustment, and that's something that we're going to continue to work on.